7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Friday. Ooh, I was a little bit on mute. Happy Friday, everybody. This is your PR princess, your timeless elite, Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me, on this pre-4th of July of WWT Live. I know we're getting ready for the long holiday weekend with fireworks, barbecues, and all that stuff. But of course, we wanted to make sure we end the week off because it's a long weekend and we have some rest. But thankfully, I'm not alone in this edition of pre-4th of July. I'm so happy that she's on here. She has been really good the last couple weeks, and happy that she made it on a Friday. And it's Wrestling with Cash with me.
Hi, ready to talk wrestling.
How are you on a Friday?
Good and hot. How are you?
I will say same. It's very hot. It's super, super hot. If you're living in the East Coast or everywhere in the US, it is super hot. It's going to be hot tomorrow. So you can expect, because when some people cancel events due to extreme heat, you know it's very hot.
For sure.
For sure. And we're just gonna rip off the band-aid and give our producer from the future, Dylan, some time, because we're just gonna preview SmackDown happening after the fallout that happened in Night of Champions. SmackDown is at good old Atlantic City. Obviously, of course, this episode was taped on Monday, but if you did not watch it and avoided all spoilers, you can check out Honey Night SmackDown happening at the top of the hour. I mean, come on. We have a new WWE Undisputed Champion in Sami Zayn. We're going to hear from him and what is next for him in his journey as being a world champion. We're also going to have a special AAA treat. Rey Fenix is the AAA Cruiserweight Champion, and he'll be facing off against El Hijo del Vanquinco in an upstart battle. And I'm very excited to see these two luchadors go at it, especially in SmackDown soil. And we're also going to have some ladies action. And after Tiffany Stratton retained her U.S. title, her, Chelsea Green, and Charlotte will team up against Jade Cargill, B-Fab, and Michin in 6-woman tag action. And always love seeing ladies. And we also have more ladies action happening. Brie Bella, one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, will be going up against Fatal Influence Lainey Reed. Since there's been a lot of brewing between the Tag Team Champions and Fatal Influence, this will happen with one-on-one action. And you can spend more at the top of the hour on SmackDown tonight, 8 p.m. on USA Network, and it's going 2 hours, by the way, so you do not want to miss it. Honey will be there on deck for Honey Night SmackDown tonight. And Cash, is there a match or a segment or anything particular that you're excited about SmackDown tonight?
The 6 women's tag match. I feel like that's going to be really good. And I kind of feel like we're heading towards a possible Charlotte and Jade storyline for SummerSlam. So I'm excited to see how that's going to unfold tonight.
It is. Fortunately, I did watch SmackDown since it was double taping on Monday. But shout out to Eric Isaac in the chat. It was double taping on Monday. I can't give you any spoilers because I will say it was an interesting SmackDown. It did what it needed to do and pretty much got on the road to SummerSlam. Obviously, we're going to figure out between Charlotte and Jade because possibly they may have a match because it's been building. It's been building up for quite some time. And obviously, of course, it's the biggest event of the summer. So you definitely need to have some blockbuster matches. But all this and more is happening at the top of the hour for SmackDown tonight. You do not want to miss Honey Night SmackDown because she is very excited. And it's finally going back to 2 hours. No 3 hours. It is 2 hours.
That is the best news all day.
One of the best news all day, probably. But since we're talking about Sami Zayn, this was actually very fascinating, I learned. So apparently there's been a lot of mixed feelings with Sami Zayn being world champion. Eric Bischoff had a lot to say. He actually offered somewhat of an honest but skeptical assessment of Sami Zayn's WWE title win, admitting he doesn't quite see it, at least not yet. Speaking on his 83 Weeks podcast, Eric Bischoff made it clear his hesitation isn't personal. He goes on to say, I like Sami a lot. I got to know him just. Oh, I thought you said something. I got to know him just a little bit. He says, praising Sami Zayn's talent and discipline, a lot of things to respect, but in that role, frankly, I didn't see it, still don't. And that said, Eric Bischoff was quick to acknowledge that he could be proven wrong, citing his own misfire in judging the WWE breakdown of Danhausen. He also stressed that WWE operates with information that outside observers simply don't have. He goes on to say WWE has access to data that probably we don't even understand. And does that data tell them something that we don't see as fans? He framed the decision as a reminder of a lesson he learned under Ted Turner, that creative choices should serve the broad audience rather than the taste of the person making them. And pretty much he goes on to say, don't program for yourself, dummy, because there's only one of you and you're programming for the masses. He says, recalling Turner's philosophy. For now, though, Bischoff remains unconvinced on the surface. It's a question mark for me regarding Sami Zayn. And it has been a lot of questions. And Kesh, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this. First off, did you watch Night of Champions? And what is your reaction when you found out Sami Zayn was going to be the new WWE Undisputed Champion?
I was shocked. I was literally shocked. I thought Cody was going to retain, honestly. So when Sami, if anything, I thought that Cody would pin Sami. The fact that Sami pinned Cody, I was like, whoa, because we've seen Cody be champion for so long. So I was kind of shocked that they pulled the trigger for Sami. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on Sami as champion as well. I've kind of seen more of people happier that he's been champion more so because it's kind of like the underdog story finally, paid off for him. And it was a big deal for a lot of people. And I feel like a lot of people, and I feel the same way, some people are just like, maybe they didn't want him to be champion right now, but I can respect the fact that he finally got it. And I think it's well deserved for him for sure. That was a mouthful, but yeah.
No, it was. And I will say it's been a long time coming for Sami Zayn to be champion because we wanted him to be champion. I know some people are like trying to get him out of this underdog phase. I would have loved to see him be world champion. It was just a matter of timing on when that was going to happen because we all thought he would beat Roman Reigns when they came back to Montreal for Elimination Chamber, but that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we thought him versus Drew McIntyre. That happened at the Royal Rumble in Saudi. That did not happen either. So it's very interesting. And of course, it had to happen in the audience of Saudi because Sami Zayn is a descendant as well. So very curious. I mean, this is not the first time I've heard somebody saying, I don't see it and everything else because everybody has a particular choice that they don't have the it factor or size doesn't matter. I could go to a good example, Chris Jericho, because I remember when he was in WCW, a lot of people did not think of him as champion. Even when he first came to WWE, people did not see him be a world champion because of his size. But he ended up being people wrong because he's the champion. He has charisma. He has the voice skills. He's an entertainer. He does that. And even going back to when Bryan Danielson was Daniel Bryan in WWE, and he had that underdog with the yes movement, and even with CM Punk, that was predictable because people did not think CM Punk would be world heavyweight champion, and here we are today. So those are just some of the things to really think about because nothing against Eric Bischoff. I do respect him for the business, but sometimes people do put their foot in their mouths, and there's a reason why sometimes they don't be brought back to WWE for whatever reason that is.
For sure.
That is always a reason, but I'm happy for Sami to be champion. Like I said, I really want to see his reign do very, very well. But speaking of reigns, since we are women's wrestling talk, and we always want to highlight milestones of all ladies, we do want to give a congratulations to the forever Ring of Honor Women's Champion, Athena. 1,300 days as the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion. She's carried Ring of Honor on her back, and she literally just put the ground in and is continuing to making impact after impact after impact after impact. And Cash, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this because we have talked about Athena for quite some time. And how do you feel that the forever Ring of Honor Women's Champion is now at 1,300 days?
I'm happy for her because, you know, when she was Ember Moon, I feel like she wasn't like utilized in the way I wanted her to be. So I love the fact that now she's kind of getting like her just due and being the champion for forever. Yeah, you know, like she's great in the ring, and you know, promo wise, she has the it factor for me. So I'm really excited for her. I don't mind, you know, her holding that belt for however long she does, honestly, because I love her so much.
I'm happy for Athena. I think myself and TK and a lot of our other panelists have said this about Athena. The problem I always have is how come they didn't utilize it on television? That's the one thing I'm very upset about, especially when it comes to AEW, because I think, and this is no shot at Mercedes, because I said this a couple months ago when she was TBS champion. They didn't even give any milestone to Athena when she hit that milestone. And I was very, very, very disappointed because it's like you favor one person over the other. And that's really sad to do, especially with the fact Athena's been there. She's carried Ring of Honor on her back and also did something that the AEW women's division on the main roster haven't done. The last couple of years, women from Ring of Honor have main evented on their pay-per-views. That is something that I wish the women's division of AEW did. And that is something Athena and many other women have done. Granted, she does have the minions with Diamante Billy Starks, but it looks like if you saw her post interview after Mercedes and Maya Worlds, it looks like there's still some unfinished business between Maya Worlds and Athena, because I don't think Athena is done yet. And I do have this feeling that she's going to be, Maya World is going to be Ring of Honor Women's Champion on the next pay-per-view.
You think like Maya's going to dethrone Athena?
I think she is going to dethrone her. Because for her to cut a promo like that after the match, and especially even though Maya World lost, but her stock is going up. And with the fact too, I think there is somewhat of a building stone for the Ring of Honor women's division, because I know a lot of times we do say things about Ring of Honor. I don't know what they're doing over there with developmental or whatever, but there is some good points that they're making. It's just, I wish they did have a separate creative team that focused specifically on Ring of Honor and actually do some TV time and really getting them to the next level. But that's a whole conversation I will save for another day. I just wish like Tony Khan, I'm not going to blame Tony, but I wouldn't be surprised if anybody in that executive office around him was like a fly in the wall with him, or like, I don't want to say they don't care about Athena, but it's like, you should have at least put a lot more love and attention as you do.
No,
because
I agree.
I love Tony Storm. I love Tony Storm. This is nothing against Mercedes, but it's like, I mean, come on. Athena has that milestone. I think she should have at least had the same love and attention.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's literally what you said in the favoritism aspect, because I feel like anything like Mercedes or like Chris, it's like there's like maybe like a top 5 or 6 in AW where it's like, you know, they'll get acknowledged for something they do, like 100%. And Athena definitely deserves that. I feel like she's always kind of underrated in my opinion, and she shouldn't be. It's really weird.
She should not be. She shouldn't, and that's why she's the forever Ring of Honor Women's Champion, and she carried Ring of Honor on her back. And also, like I said, Ring of Honor is doing something that AEW can do. You're letting women main event your pay-per-views. I mean, I'm just saying, but I hope so. Like I said, I mean, I wanted Jamie Hayter and Tekla to have a blood feud, but I don't think that's going to happen, which really sucks, because that would have been so good, because that would have helped not only Tekla's stock, but Jamie Hayter's stock. But well, that's a time for another day. But congratulations to the forever Ring of Honor Women's Champion, because I feel like Maya Worlds will probably be the one to dethrone it, and we can see Athena more on Dynamite and Collision.
That's true.
We can see her more on TV. Let's send in congratulations to her. And since we're on the topic of women's wrestling, last night TNA started their Knockouts television tournament last night. Yours truly was doing a watch along and a special watch along edition. And also with the fact too, Tracy Brooks, if you guys are not following TNA closely, Tracy Brooks, who is an OG TNA knockout, she made the announcement on Slammiversary that there will be a tournament to crown a Knockouts TV champion, and it will be defended specifically on TNA Impact. We had the first two matches happen last night. We had Mara Sharday taking on Tasha Steelz, where Mara Sharday beat Tasha Steelz in surprising fashion. And we had Heather by Elegance and one half of the new Knockouts Tag Team Champions, Allie. And of course, there was a little bit of shenanigans outside the ring because you had Rosemary in one corner and then you had M by Elegance in one corner. But Heather by Elegance prevailed. So now we know they will both meet in the next round, and we're just getting started. And Cash, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this because I don't know if you follow TNA as much or this specific tournament, but I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on this and how you feel about the results and who do you think is going to be the new TNA Knockouts TV champion?
So I don't really watch TNA. I kind of like keep up with clips type of thing. So I have no idea. I kind of tried to watch some of Slammiversary, but I do know of some of the wrestlers there more so because, you know, they were in WWE or other promotions I watched at one point. So I have no idea on a prediction. And I kind of don't want to just name someone and it's just like, why would they win?
That's okay. Because like I said.
Wait, what's your prediction? Like, what are you feeling?
I had Tasha Steelz winning, but she's out.
Oh
but I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at Mara Sharday winning. I would not be mad, only because shout out to Boza and shout out to DJ Magic J in the chat. DJ Magic J from the Mega Powers podcast. Love those guys. But I wouldn't be shocked if Mara Sharday won. Actually, I said this last night during the watch along. I said, wouldn't it be funny if Mara Sharday won and her man is the face of TNT? That would be really hilarious if it was on socials. I would get a kick out of that.
Oh my gosh. Never know.
You never know. But just to let you know, most of the knockouts, Jody Threat, Indy Hartwell, Elena Black. I know there's a few I'm pretty much missing. But we do have some few people from the independent side. Gabby Forza, Vicious Vicky. Also, we have some from NXT and Evolve, Wendy Chu and Thea Hale. So we do have a lot of good tournaments happening, and I'm very, very happy to see. It's going to be a fun tournament as well. And also, you can hang out with me on Thursdays because we're going to do a special mini series highlighting the TNA Knockouts TV Championship Tournament every Thursday until we find a winner. Because honestly, I don't know if anybody else is covering it, but since this is Women's Wrestling Talk, we're going to focus more on the ladies at this point, and I'm very excited. So you get to tune in every Thursday for a watch along for TNA, and it's going to be super, super excited. And since we are talking about TNA, I noticed this because next Tuesday, they start Dark Side of the Ring next Tuesday. The first subject is TNA. And also, it's ironic that it was on the commercials last night for TNA Impact, but also a person who's no stranger to TNA, Karen Jarrett. Apparently, she actually, because I found this on a Wrestling News Co., and Karen Jarrett is promising answers in the upcoming episode of Dark Side of the Ring's Deep Dive into Jeff Jarrett and the early years of TNA wrestling. She wrote on her Instagram, she said, "You will hear from several people, none of whom like or respect one another. Yet they all agree on one thing: who the real villain in this story is." Karen speaks publicly for the first time in the 3-part story, which also features Jeff Jarrett, Scott D'Amore, Vince Russo, Jim Cornette, D'Lo Brown, and Awesome Kong. It is the first 3-part story in the series history. Just a friendly reminder, Dark Side of the Ring premieres Tuesday, July 7th at 9 p.m. on Vice TV, with a 2-hour opener airing parts 1 and 2 back-to-back, and part 3 follows July 14th with new episodes weekly at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And Cash, I don't know if I wanted to make sure, because I don't know if you follow or watch Dark Side of the Ring, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on this because TNA's had some interesting histories when it first started. So I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on this and how you're feeling. And are you going to watch not just this episode, but of any episode of this season's Dark Side of the Ring?
Yes, I'm excited. Like, I used to binge Dark Side of the Ring, and I'm excited that it's back on. And although this topic is very messy, I'm excited to watch it. There is a lot that's going to be said. And I think that the lineup of appearances of people that are going to talk, I think that's a great lineup, you know, because all of them were there during that time and saying everything like front and center. And, you know, even like Karen's comment saying like some of them hate each other, but they're all going to agree on one thing is very telling. So I'm excited to see what everyone has to say. I'm definitely going to be tuning in.
I think a lot of us are going to be tuning in. I think we may be doing a post show. I think I have to see with Boss Lady and Christina here on WWT because it's going to be interesting. But get your popcorn ready, get everything else ready because oh my, if you saw the early versions of TNA when they first started in the Impact Zone, it can get a little messy. So there will be a lot happening. But you know what else isn't messy? The Women's Wrestling Archive that our boss lady TK Trinidad created because we get to celebrate the past, the present, and the future of women's wrestling.
Women's wrestling didn't just show up yesterday in glitter boots. We've been here the entire time, body slamming through history.
The Women's Wrestling Archive launches 2026, and it's going to pave the way for all women's wrestling.
Because if we don't document it, a man might think he did it first.
This has been a passion project for a very long time. Head over to the womenswrestlingarchive.com to donate 1, 5, or whatever you can. It all goes a long way.
Let's give these women the spotlight that they've always deserved.
Her story belongs in history. Help us preserve it today. Join us at womenswrestlingarchive.com. Support the archive. Support women's wrestling. Donate today.
Support everything that you can for the Women's Wrestling Archive. $1, $2, $3, $20, $100. Any support that we could keep this archive going because it talks about everything for women's wrestling. And since we're shifting gears, and I thought this was really fascinating. This is actually a very fascinating story. So you guys know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. Austin 316, one of the most bona fide and influential superstars in WWE. And this is actually fascinating because the current top 10 most popular items on WWE Shop. And guess who is number one? Do you want to take any guesses?
The icon himself, Mr. Austin 316.
Yes, Stone Cold Steve Austin's King of the Ring 1996 interview t-shirt is number one. Number two is his 316 t-shirt. Number three is a WCW World Heavyweight Championship replica title belt. Number four is Roman Reigns or a cartoon t-shirt. Number five, WWE Big Gold World Heavyweight Championship replica title belt. Number six, WWE Attitude Era version 2 replica title belt. Number seven, Roman Reigns 1 versus All retro t-shirt. Number 8 and 9, Stone Cold Steve Austin. He has number 9. And number 10 is the Penta Luchador replica mask.
That's a good list.
I mean, you got any thoughts?
It's all over the place, which I like. You know, it shows a little variety. But I think it's really cool that Stone Cold, after all of these years, that he can still hold the number one, number two spot. That says a lot.
It does. I think, you know, and I understand with Roman Reigns being the tribal chief and everything, and this is no shot at him. This is no shot at like Cody or anybody else, but people need to understand how influential Stone Cold Steve Austin is. Mm-hmm. If you were there during like when he was like the ringmaster, evolving from WCW to ECW, even in WWE, you could see his rise. And also 98, 99, that was like a boom bona fide year because Austin, he was like everywhere. He was everywhere on mainstream from like Regis and Kathy Lee. He was on SNL. He was on Mad TV. He was doing movies. He was on Celebrity Deathmatch. He was pretty much almost everywhere on mainstream. And that just shows you how much he crossed over to pop culture. And it's still to this day. People still reference Stone Cold Steve Austin, even with wrestlers, even to this day, even though they weren't around during that period, they still appreciate and respect the work that Stone Cold Steve Austin has done. So I'm very happy Austin is definitely getting recognized, and he's one of the most prominent figures, not just in the Attitude Era, but all of professional wrestling. And I'm happy that his influence is still around to this day. It makes me happy to see Steve influence still around to this day. And he's also in his big farm with all of his cats, all of his animals, and making his own beer.
He's living it up. He's literally living the dream, just like chilling, living it up.
He's chilling, and I love seeing that in Austin. I love it. Also, switching from Austin, and shout out to Maria in the chat. The New Day, because we now know Big E. It has a lot of other things, like he's doing a TED Talk. He's also, I believe, releasing a memoir soon. So with the New Day, so Big E actually spoke with Sam Roberts in an interview, and he opened up about the early struggles of the New Day, revealing that the group's initial babyface run was hampered by heavy micromanagement. He goes on to explain that the trio was given exacting instructions on nearly every aspect of their presentation when they first debuted as babyfaces. He goes on to say, I quote, "A lot of the issues with our initial babyface run was that there was so much micromanagement to the point where certain producers would come out like, on your entrance, you need to clap there, skip here, move in this way." According to Big E, the level of oversight made it difficult to perform naturally. It's just very hard to be free as a performer when you're worried about all of the notes and all those little beats that you need to hit. Everything changed once the New Day turned heel, a pivot that ultimately sparked their rise to becoming one of WWE's most beloved acts. He goes on to say, thankfully, by the time we turned heel, a lot of those reins were finally taken off, and we just got to do us. Biggie said, as soon as we got to be more creative and have more of a voice in the process, things took off for us. But you can check it out, his full interview, on the Not Sam podcast that is happening right now. Cash, I just want to get your quick thoughts on this, because Biggie did make a point, and I feel like we've been talking about this a lot with micromanagement. I know TKO wasn't there during that time when the New Day first started, but obviously it was like WWE and its oversight. And also, I believe this was during the Vince era, the PG era, and just wanted to get your quick thoughts on this, because I feel like, you know, we have seen micromanagement when it comes to creative and booking, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, and the execution seems to be not there.
I hate that for them, because I feel like even just them individually, there's so much personality. Like, even if you don't have them as a group, like, I feel like if you just let them roam free, they will put on like the best entertainment show for you of their lives. And they showed that, you know, and it's like, I feel like when that micromanagement kind of let up, I feel like you kind of saw more antics, you know, like Big E is just like wiggling his hips around, and you have Xavier like doing the instruments. It was just fun. And I think in any aspect of life, everyone hates to be micromanaged, because it's like you can't really, you know, do your job how you would normally want to do it, because you're like watched 24/7. So I'm happy they kind of got to eventually, you know, be themselves fully, for sure.
That's always the sucky part. And this is like to any job when it comes to micromanaging, because I experienced that too a lot when I first started in PR. It was just so much micromanagement in every little detail. Like, I never had a chance to really shine and get an opportunity. And also, there seems to be a lack of trust, because I noticed that too. I know, like, you know, with strong baby faces, you want to do this and this, but sometimes you kind of have to let them be free. You have to let them be free and be creative and do what they want. And that's when I was talking about this last night during the TNA watch along with the Hardys, because I kind of said this, that I think the Hardys are going to end their career in TNA, because what's the one thing that they were able to do in TNA that they didn't do in WWE? You know this. Do you know?
is that there's more freedom creatively, right?
Yeah, they got a lot more. They got more
Yeah.
freedom creative wise, because if you saw when they were in WWE, it was a watered down version of Broken Matt Hardy. With
For
TNA,
sure.
they have a little bit more freedom, and they're
Mhm.
able to express themselves and do what they need to do. That was like the one thing, and I didn't want to say it as a hot take, but I kept thinking about it more and more. I think they may end their careers in TNA with the facts, and also obviously with WWE and even with TKO being an influence, that also hits a burden,
For
because
sure.
for me, I would not be shocked if somebody in TKO would not know who the Hardys were, because you would think they would
Yes.
know it, but I would not be shocked how big of a deal and influence the Hardys have. But I think that's something, and even like, God forbid, LA Knight, they're not pushing LA Knight and getting him into the prominent, but if that's always a hit or miss. And even with AEW as well, like before you came on, we've said it clockwork many times with their women's division. Like, yes, you have Tony Storm, you have Mercedes Moné, but you have all these other women you could give storylines to. You have
Mhm.
all these other ladies that you can at least give storylines to. Like I said, I really wanted to see Jimmy Hayter have a blood feud with Tekla. I would have loved to see a blood feud with Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander. And
Mhm.
even with the fact, too, I'm just surprised Thunder Rosa, like, she hasn't even got the AEW Women's title back, a title she did not lose. And also another rivalry that still needs to be finished: Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter. That needs to
Mhm.
be finished as well. But it's one of those things, having that creative freedom and just understanding the brand, understand the product. Yes, I understand with the demographic, because it's the Gen Zers and the casual fans, unfortunately, watch it as
Mhm.
a trend. Shout out to Rick Tony 14. Shout out to them in the chat. But it's just one of those things that we just really need to think about. And I think it's something that we're still going to talk about, because I want everybody to have the opportunity to shine, especially in the main event level. I mean, God forbid, I know a lot of times a lot of people won't see that, but it's something that we do. And I think we did talk about last week with Chad Gable, where he was at after the Mask versus Mask match. I would love to see him be prominent in the Intercontinental title race, probably with Penta, since it's going to be in his hometown, Minneapolis. But yeah, that's something we just need to think about. And micromanaging is not that great. It really isn't.
Especially if like the person doesn't know. Like to your example with TKO, possibly not, some of them not knowing the Hardys. I feel that way all the time, especially like WWE, some of the booking decisions. I'm just like, why would we do this if this made sense in terms of like a long-term wrestling fan watching? I feel like there's a lot of stuff now where it's like us watching long term, it's like, well, why'd you do that? But it's like the casual person is just like, oh, that's no big deal. And we're just like, it is a big deal because this shouldn't have happened. But they don't get that or make that connection. I even feel that way in creative. I feel like they kind of hire people that kind of like don't watch wrestling. It's kind of like, oh, I produce TV shows or movies, and they don't really understand like the wrestling aspect of storylines. And I feel like we see that play out all the time, kind of.
Yeah, it's really hard. And also people pleasing too. It's not that good to be a people pleaser. It's
Yep.
very unhealthy. And that's why I said it regarding the Hardys. That's why I said, like, I wouldn't be shocked if they end their careers in TNA, or
Yeah.
wouldn't even go back to WWE, with the fact they have creative control in TNA rather than WWE, because that's something that I thought about last night. Shout out to Jeffrey in the chat. Shout out to him. But that's just something we're going to have to watch, especially with this creative and micromanagement, because we're still going to be talking about it in the next couple of years, because
For
we
sure.
wanted to do better. And I'm just saying, they may be watching our show. I'm just saying, you have some pretty cool group of people in WWT that could help out with the booking. So I'm just saying.
Guys, help us out. Help us get better shoes.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But we have our final story before we get out of here. I thought this was a cool story to really end the night tonight, courtesy of Fightful. So Kevin Knight, Thunder Rosa, Speedball Mike Bailey take part in a charity wrestling exhibition for kids in Mexico. There was a local Spanish piece that highlighted the trio's recent visit to Tijuana, where they hosted a wrestling exhibition event for kids. The event, which was hosted by the Tijuana Sin Hambre Foundation, was attended by over 200 children. And the outlet also noted that the kids received food, gifts, and the opportunity to interact with Speedball Mike Bailey, Thunder Rosa, and Kevin Knight. And this is Thunder Rosa's second time taking part in the festivities. And we do see some of the photos that happen. And it's just a good way to really end it. And the story, it's always good to see a lot of wrestlers do stuff outside of the ring that sometimes it may not go unnoticed, but I'm happy that we are able to highlight stuff, because it also warms my heart to see them doing good things. And also, even going into the holiday, because there's always a lot of feelings, this makes me happy that there is still hope, and also my vision of what America's looks like, helping out each other and just making a difference in people's lives.
That was well said. That was really well said. That's a good connection. But yeah, I agree for sure. And I like the fact too, like, like me growing up, it's like I feel like a lot of us were like, oh, I want to be a wrestler when I get older. So it's cool that you get to see that up close and personal and meet them and kind of engage with them in that environment. I'm really excited for the kids to get to see that too.
It makes me happy to see, and seeing people like Thunder, because Boss Lady talks about Thunder Rosa. Like, Thunder Rosa's made such an impact. If you've not checked out her story, please do. And just seeing everything that she gave even before coming into AEW, she's really have gone on her way, especially being a Latina in the wrestling community. That is very, very huge, having that representation and seeing her do well, especially with the fact too, not just with AEW, she's also does have a role within CMLL, so at least she's helping out some of the girls, and it makes me happy that we're seeing a lot more ladies, not just from CMLL, but also seeing a lot of ladies from Stardom coming into AEW and Ring of Honor television. So that makes me happy to see, and giving kudos to all of them. But I know some people will say about Kevin Knight, because he does play a heel, but it's a good thing for Kevin Knight.
I'm watching you. Watching you, Kevin.
Well, I know with Kevin, because unfortunately he's teaming up with the Don Callis family, which I don't know why he's with Don Callis, but I don't know why either. But I guess it helps him with his stock, I guess. But Darby is coming for you. Darby is coming for you.
I'm excited.
But I think Darby's not going to get the TNT title, because that's going to be a segue for Speedball Mike Bailey to get the title for the TNT. So I think that should be something. But those are the stories that I have for our pre-4th of July. Kesh, is there anything that I missed or you want to talk about? Or
no, I'm good. I hope you guys enjoy SmackDown. If you have not seen what's going to happen on SmackDown, I hope you get to enjoy it. And have a happy holiday and be safe out there as well. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah,
that's kind of it for me.
I mean, that's kind of it. But where can the people find you?
You can find me Wrestling with Keish on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Well, the people can always find me chirping periodically on WWT Live as much as I can. You can also find me Wednesdays for Timeless Elite Wednesdays, because we're going to the beach with Beach Break in Clearwater, Florida. It's at an actual beach, so we will get a special Beach Break edition of Timeless Elite Wednesday, because we do have a sack card happening. Also, you'll see me on Wednesdays, you'll see me on Thursdays handling TNA, because we're going to continue the TNA Knockouts TV tournament, because we are going to determine who's going to be inaugural one. And you get to enjoy info here at Women's Wrestling Talk, because we will give you the play-by-play updates on what's happening so far in the brackets and who is one step closer on being Knockouts TV champion. Also, with the fact to make sure to check out Honey for Honey Night SmackDown, because she's getting ready for the SmackDown After Night of Champions with the new WWE Undisputed Champion Sami Zayn. Shout out to everybody in the WWT team, because they are putting the work in. We know it's summer, but we try our best to come on as much as we can, because it is summer. But also make sure to follow me on @CourtneyAngela11, because I do have some content happening. Make sure to check out my interviews with Bronwyn Billington, the daughter of the Dynamite Kid, Dave Lagarca from 80s Wrestling Con, my interview with Shotzi from MLW, But also, I will also be on the ground for Fight Factory for July 14th, where they'll be doing their event in New Jersey. So I'm very excited to cover that because we got to show love to independent. And shout out to, and I said Honey's name and she came in the chat. So make sure to check her out for Honey Night SmackDown happening at the top of the hour from Atlantic City, New Jersey. And thank you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Jeffrey, Boza, Maria, our producer from the future, Dylan in the chat, Rick Tony 14 for everything and supporting us with women's wrestling. I'm laughing at Jeffrey's comment. Thank you for supporting us on this free 4th of July edition of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Have a great weekend. Be safe, stay cool, and we will see you on Monday.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.